Good evening and welcome to Military Brat University. It's Monday night, 8 o'clock, and episode number 7. We've got a very special guest tonight, a gentleman that I've actually got a few years under my belt with. His name is Lamar Rudd, hails from Quincy, Illinois, but for the past couple of decades has been an Atlanta resident. Welcome to the show, Lamar.
Having me on. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. And as much as I know about you, over the past week or so, doing some research, I found out some stuff I didn't know. So Military Brat University, let's go ahead and dive right into your beginnings, where you started out, in your travels as a military brat.
Yeah, it was, I was about 5 years old. My mother got married. And my stepfather was enlisted into the Army, and our first stop was in Kitzingen, Germany. And we were there for about 3 years, actually. And we didn't even live on base. We lived in a village. And our landlord had a apartment right above her strawberry farm. So I was out there helping her, on a daily basis. I'd take home some strawberries. But it's amazing how I got the freedom to run around. I mean, I could go to taverns, buy liquor for the family, all that because of no drinking age, right? So
right.
I'm getting and sauerkraut, Polishes, and all that stuff. So great experience. Saw Count Dracula's grave, his grave site while we was there, and I'll never forget it, even at that young age, after all these years. And my little brother was born over there.
Okay.
So, we call him the German baby.
There you go.
So
that's pretty cool.
Great experience. Yeah, and then from there we went to El Paso, Texas, then to Phoenix, then to Denver.
Okay.
So it's about a 5-year span.
Okay. Okay, good stuff. And so you got Germany, which oddly enough, we were over there at the same time.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, because I was there from 74 to 79. So at the tail end for us, you were there.
Wow.
And I know Kitzingen. Know it very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was crazy because when I got home, I was speaking German to my uncle and didn't even realize it. It was just kind of like the second language that I picked up. But, where I went to school, they didn't have German as an option. So I wasn't able to, grasp onto it and move on with it. But kind of wish I did, at this point, but didn't have that option.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you that total immersion is better than any course you can take anywhere.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it helped me to be able to adapt in life to pretty much anything, right? You could be a chameleon. We lived in different neighborhoods with different ethnicities, and it helped me even as an adult now to be able to walk in any room or, walk on any corner, and build up as necessary on. So. Yeah.
Yeah. What I think these days they call it code switching, but that's just, as military brats, that's what we have more repetitions than most. And doing that
question.
Yeah.
Move so many times, man. There'll be times I come home and pants is packing. Like, oh, okay,
that's
where we going? So, yeah. But great experience. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's good stuff. So, one of the things that I am going to delve into is the accomplished athletic career that you had. And what I'd like to know is whether or not you began any of that during your travels as a military brat.
We went to school on base, right? So when we would get there, we would have some free time before class and after class. And it's funny because I didn't even recall this, but my stepfather told me that I would go out there and I would outshoot some of the guys on base at 6, 7 years old.
Right.
And I was a huge Magic Johnson fan, and we got everything tailored over there, right? And that was the first time that I saw something so incredible, like that. And I would just try to go out there and emulate it. And but yeah, that's when I first picked up a basketball, was in Germany And it's crazy because I come from a family background of basketball players, really good basketball players, but never got a chance to put a ball in my hand until I was in Germany at that age.
So I want to say, I think it's your uncle that I was a fan of before I even knew you. On the
my Uncle Michael.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Special player.
It was, God rest his soul, man. He left us too early in life, but he was my idol. As much as I love Magic Johnson, man, that guy right there was somebody that I looked up to and had a chance to be the ball boy for a college team for a couple seasons. And he played against some incredible people, Isaiah Thomas, Terry Cummings. There's a lot of people. Terry Porter, matter of fact, he played against him in college. Jackson. But yeah, it's Mark Aguirre. I mean, I could go on and on. It was just crazy, and he held it on, man. A little 5'9" guard, and a real skinny dude, man, and it was just an incredible competitor more than anything, and that's what I learned more in life was to compete. Yeah. Almost to the point where he was a little too competitive, but he had a hell of a reputation, man. So I appreciate you bringing him up.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So Mark Aguirre and Terry Cummings were at DePaul back then, right?
Yeah. And the funny story is I was at my wife's parents' house the first couple of years we got married and looking through a book, and I see Terry Cummings, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's our cousin."
Oh wow.
You ain't tell me come. Yeah, you related to Terry Cummings, and DePaul is like my favorite all time.
Right.
They used to come out with the hoods on, hoodies on.
Yes.
He's one of my favorite players of all time, man. And here I am, married to his cousin.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. But yeah,
so watch this. Watch this.
A group good.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, so watch this for another DePaul connection. A childhood friend of mine that I met in the 7th grade is now the head coach at DePaul.
Really?
This is his first season upcoming. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
It's a legendary school, man. The history is undeniable. So
yes. Yeah, and incidentally, and I'm gonna jump ahead, but we'll circle back. The DePaul Blue Devils, right?
Absolutely.
And the Quincy
Blue Devils.
Yeah. Okay. I was hoping I got that.
I got recruited. Yeah, I got recruited, man, by hundreds of schools, and I got one letter from DePaul. But they didn't recruit me heavily, man, and that was one of the things that kind of was a disappointment for me because I would have signed in a heartbeat. I don't care if I sat on the bench.
Right, right.
Just to put that uniform on, that would have been nice, man. So, but yeah, Blue Devil to Blue Devil.
There you go. So Kitzigan, from Kitzigan to El Paso, the bottom of the state, right?
The bottom of the state, yeah.
And then from El Paso to Phoenix?
Briefly, I don't recall being there too long, but then most of the time we stayed in Denver. Okay. Thornton to be exact. Out there in Colorado. So, and that was the pretty much the end of the journey. My stepfather got out of the military after that. So it was a little over 5-year run. Okay. And I ended up getting back to Quincy around between 10 and 11 years old. Okay. And then we moved back.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, smack dab in the middle of the state of Illinois.
Illinois, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So you were what, 5th, maybe 6th grade when you got there?
It was my 4th, 5th grade. Yep.
Okay.
Probably in the middle of the school year. Who knows? You know how that goes. So
yeah. But, I remember those escorts by the principal. Showing you around the school. Everybody's looking and pointing.
You. Yeah, man. You'd be a little nervous. You new kid on the block. And, but it started becoming natural, and but it was an experience that, like I said, I'll never take it back. I mean, it was something that I always appreciated because it taught me a lot how to adapt. So, country to country, city to city,
and you kind of begin to learn, what to look for and what to see, at a pretty early age.
Yeah, at a very early age. Like I said, I was kind of like freelancing when I was over there in Germany in Kitzingen because we, like I said, lived off base. So I pretty much had a lot of more freedom than a 6-7-year-old would.
Right.
So and was able to kind of hold my own. I think my mother told me I got in a fight with an 18-year-old.
No.
He dotted my eye, right?
Right.
So, but my mother, she took me right back up there. She was like, "Which one is he?" I said, "Right there." She said, "You dotted his eye right back." So I had to do what I was told. So
yeah. Now, knowing you, we've got over 25. I know that.
Oh yeah, easy. Yep.
Yeah. Matter of fact, closing in on 30.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, we are over 30. Yeah,
because we met in 90. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So,
yeah.
Man, 2021. Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, and
You're aging us, man.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, I can't even imagine you, in the fisticuffs. All these years.
Right?
That's news to me.
I'm you know me, man. I'm cool. I'm laid back. You know how we used to do it. We talked about that chin looked tasty, but that's an inside joke for us. But
right.
But man. I try to just stay in my lane, stay in my own way. So
yeah, and then I guess we'll go ahead. We're about to take a break here shortly, but as it relates really to both positions that you played, right, in both basketball and baseball, a cool, calm head is necessary.
Yeah, especially in baseball, man. You have to have a lot of patience in that sport. And it was kind of like a heck of a contrast going from basketball to baseball each season. But it was something that helped me mentally with anything. So, it was a good transition.
And to overuse it, maybe I will, that adaptability comes back into play.
Yes, absolutely. And I didn't even think about it in that way, but yeah, I was sure.
Yeah. Changing homes, changing seasons.
Yeah, man. I don't know how I did it all them years, but I don't know what I would have did without it. It just kept me going. It kept me on a schedule, which, military brats were used to. And anytime I got off schedule was, I started going crazy. So, had to stick to the agenda.
Absolutely. Structure. So we made it to Quincy, 4th, maybe 5th grade. When we come back, I want to really get into the meat of the beginnings of your athletic career. Okay. And we'll be right back after these messages with Military Brat University. And welcome back to Military Brat University. Tonight's special guest is Lamar Rudd. Full disclosure, we just figured out that we've been lifelong friends at this point. We've got more time behind us than we were when we met, right? So absolutely. 30 years. And one of my favorite things about a genuine friendship / in this case brotherhood is that it's organic and ever growing, right? And so as much time as we spent together on campus, off campus at your mom's house when she let us,
you remember that, yeah.
Absolutely. To the trips down to Atlanta, I've learned some things in this first segment that I didn't know. Right. So we were in Germany at the same time. And what I didn't point out earlier, because it's about you, not me, but when we first moved to Germany, we didn't live on post either.
Okay.
We lived in the village. And my mom worked in a German factory. So they're, again, adapting. So here's my favorite part, because some of this only has to do with the fact that you're my friend.
Gotcha.
But a lot of it has to do with the skill set, the mindset. It wasn't hyperbole. It wasn't fluff when I named my favorite 5 guards, quote unquote, small guards. And this is in no particular order, but Rod Strickland, DePaul, right?
Man,
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, AI, Mario Brown, Lamar Rudd. Now,
Wow.
what all of you guys have in common? There's no talking on the court. The game said enough. None of you guys talk on the court. No trash talk.
Yep.
The game said enough. So what I want to talk about is the beginnings of both baseball and basketball. Because here's what most of us know. The point guard is the floor general, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the leader of the team. He is the back court, and leaders lead from the rear, not the front. Can't see the troops if you're in front of them, right?
Correct.
Okay. On the baseball field, the center fielder can see everything, and he, in most cases, and please correct me, but I do remember a little bit, the center fielder, might do a lot of communicating with the catcher in terms of shifts and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So, while the seasons might have switched, while one ball may have been X number of inches in circumference and the other one was, drastically smaller,
Mm-hmm.
the role, is very similar.
Yeah, I agree. It's they go hand in hand. It's a little bit different eye-hand coordination, but the mentality is the same.
Yes. Yeah. So if you could just tell us about the beginnings of either basketball or baseball, your pick.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a basketball coach at the YMCA. The season was over. He was taking me home. He dropped me off, and he said, "Hey, I put your name in for the draft for baseball." And I said, "Why'd you do that?" I was a okay fan of baseball. We grew up watching between the Cubs and the Cardinals all the time, but really didn't play it. And he said, "You'll have fun. Just try it." So I got drafted by I think it was I can't remember the name. I think it was Pepsi, and I was horrible. They knew, everybody knew me for basketball, but they was like, "Hey," under their breath, they was like, "Man, this guy can't. He can't hit it lick. He can't field. Can't do anything out there." I didn't even have cleats. Couldn't afford cleats. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out there in my sneakers, sliding through the grass trying to get a baseball. Right. So
right.
One of my good friends, his father was the head coach, and he told him, "Hey, I think Lamar needs to stick to basketball." Right. That got back to me, and that was the best thing that somebody could have told me, was something I couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And that very next year, I ended up batting 700 and making the All-Star team as a 10-year-old. And from there, the competitive juices started flowing. And I started liking baseball just as much, if not more, than basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And but I had a lot of people that had a lot of faith in me. I had a coach, Coach Hellenthal, that put me on a varsity as a freshman. I didn't have no business being on a varsity as a freshman, but he put me on there, and it boosted my confidence to the point to where I was one of the leading home run hitters as a freshman on that team.
Okay.
So that's into anything in life. Somebody believe in you, give you that confidence, and it grows on you. So
absolutely.
So that started my love, for being competitive baseball.
Okay.
And of course basketball, that never changed, right?
Right.
But what it did was, there was some conflict sometimes. I had to miss some camps. I had to miss some certain tournaments, and I had to pick and choose. But man, I didn't have a break all year round. I was doing something, but kept me off the streets, kept me out of trouble. My mother knew where I was at all times. So
right.
And the grades had to be on point to continue to do anything. So it's the love for both of them was great, for both the physical aspect and the mental aspect. So
you were in a nice sized town. Mm-hmm. And so you guys, I know maybe 4th through 7th grade, mm-hmm. there's just a town league, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then did the school team start around 7th grade? Yeah,
you had your elementary schools, you had your city titles and all that stuff. Then you got to junior high, the 7th and 8th grade, where we had a group of guys that we all played together for 2-3 years, either mm-hmm. through all-star circuits or through camps. And we ended up finishing 3rd one year, I think in 7th grade in the state, and then 2nd and 8th grade.
Okay.
And when we finished 2nd and 8th grade that year, we knew we had something special, going into high school. Our our high school, probably about 2,500 students.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we played with the big boys, you know,
Right.
from Chicago all the way down to St. Louis, East St. Louis, and all that. So the competition was crazy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
from the Jamie Brandons to the Quanzo Martins, you know, guys like that. Howard Nathan, you know, God rest his soul. And you know, we had great competition with that. But you know, our team, you know, we had a couple of guys come in that didn't play with us in you know, junior high that came in, a guy by the name of Tim Johnson and Derek Banner, and it made our team complete. And we ended up finishing 4th in the state that year. Lost to the number 1 team in the nation by 2 points, you know, earlier that year. But we didn't have the greatest talent, but we had a great coach and a great system. And when you play in front of 5,000 fans every night, man, in your high school, I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
You know, you got 2 TV channels that followed you everywhere, 2 radio stations that followed you everywhere. I mean, you're giving interviews like you in college or pro, you know, before games and after games. So just one of the best environments. I wish somebody can experience one of those home games just one time.
Right.
It's just crazy. So, but yeah, this the experience that I never forget.
That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So who was the number 1 team in the nation that year?
It was Chicago King.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Chicago King. And I know a couple of guys off that team that I still stay in contact with through Facebook and see them every now and then through the AAU circuit coming through Atlanta. And but yeah, great team, man. I mean, you know, we had no business being on the court with them, but our system helped us be competitive and you know, almost give us you know, we had a last second shot to win the game, went in and out.
Yep.
So but yeah, we they ended up being national champs that year.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
So number 1 in the nation.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just an embarrassment of riches, right? The level
man.
of talent on that team.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pretty much all D1 players.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were. In fact, for whatever reason, I still remember the starting lineup and where they all went.
Yeah. Most definitely. So,
yeah.
So, and yeah, we had some talent too. You know, we had some guys that went on to, you know, play baseball and basketball in college and all that. So, so we wasn't that bad.
Right.
But,
yeah, not at all.
But we, you know, the history of Quincy High School. I mean, man, just to finish 4th in state and be part of that history of a high school that has the most finishes in the state of all time. And, I think we're like 5th or 6th in the nation all-time wins.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that's just proud to be a part of that.
Absolutely. You guys had a pretty legendary coach in your own right, didn't you?
Yeah, Jerry Leggett. You know, again, God rest his soul as well. He one of the best high school coaches in the country. I mean, he knew what to do with his talent. He and I kind of bumped heads every now and then, but you know, that's it happened. But
absolutely,
he taught me a lot about life. You know, not just basketball. So very grateful to have played for him. You know, both my uncles played for him as well, and all 3 of us got a chance to play in the state tournament, which was great. They did an article on us and talked about that too. So I still got a piece of that article to this day. But yeah, it was glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting over the years. You know, some of the better interviews I've seen. Players that talk about their coaches, they'll talk about the basketball piece, but they always talk about the amount of life coaching that they received.
Oh yeah, I mean, even in college, you know, Coach Glasgow, you know, he always told me if we have a good relationship after your college career, that means something. And he and I do. We talk on a regular basis to this day, and you know, he treated me like family. So you know, that's the key. You know, anytime I talk to, when I was you know, teaching AAU, coaching AAU, I would tell the kids when you go to college, you know, make sure you pick a school where the college coach cares about you. You know, because your best relationship is going to be after the fact. You know, once you're done playing ball, you know, if you can still pick up the phone and call your coach, and he can still be there to help you out, that means a lot. So if you can't do that, then I wouldn't pick that school.
Absolutely. I won't name the names, but one of the saddest things I've ever seen was in a basketball documentary about 2 young men. Right? We know.
I already know.
One of them went to the public school and one went to the private school.
Yeah.
And pretty much at the end of the documentary, when the one that went to the private school walked out of the coach's office, there was a feeling or a vibe oh, well, that's it, next.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that really struck me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we can name the name Hoop Dreams. I mean, I will watch it every time it comes on. You know,
Yep.
it brings back a lot of memories. But yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because that happens, unfortunately. You know, and that's when the parents have to be a big part of the decision making where the kids go. Even nowadays, choosing your AAU teams, your high school, where you're going, things like that. So. And most important is both of my high school and college coach stressed academics.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, not many are going to go pro. And,
Right.
you know, it's just like the commercial, you know, how many people are going to go pro in the sport they play. But, you know, in what you majored in, you will be a professional.
Absolutely.
And that's what both my college and high school coach really instilled in me.
Okay. So we are, we'll be right back. I've got a great stat to share with you guys when we get back after these messages on Military Brat University. We've been spending some time with Lamar Rudd out of Atlanta by way of Quincy, Illinois, and a host of other cities and countries.
Right.
So at the end of the last segment, we were talking about the importance of a sports coach and the guidance that he provides off the court or off the field or off the diamond, right? And so knowing that there's a very real possibility that you will not go pro in your sport, but you can still go pro in life. And here's a stat I used to share with the young men back when I was coaching basketball. On any given Friday or Saturday night during basketball season in this country, there are roughly 5,000 basketball games being played, which means there are 50,000 starters. Of those 50,000 starters, one of them will make it to the NBA for less than 3 years. So that'll put it in perspective.
Put it in perspective for sure. So
yeah. So now your situation, I would say by and large, is somewhat unique in terms of going from, like you mentioned earlier, 5,000 plus folks every single basketball game, night in, night out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you go from 5,000 attendees at your high school basketball games to significantly fewer at your college basketball games.
Yep.
What kind of adjustment was that for you?
That was a little weird. So, especially playing in the state tournament where there was like 17, 18,000 in the fans in there. But once the game starts, you really don't pay attention to that. Going to a smaller school, one of the big reasons why was so I could play both basketball and baseball and still get a great education, right? So I knew that was going to be the adjustment, smaller crowds, things like that. But, you got about 2,000, 3,000 people in the stands. They can still, give you that motivation that you need. And but once the game, gets going, man, you got those blinders on and you just concentrating on what's in front of you. You hear it slightly, but that adjustment, you get over it quick. So, but the main thing when you come through that tunnel, it's a little bit different from seeing 5,000 people to, a couple thousand. So, but like rivalry games and things like that, it was it got a little noisy up in there, whether you're on the road or at home. And I love playing on the road for some reason.
Okay.
I liked quieting the crowds down, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
So that was a little cockiness in me that I had, but it was just fun, playing anywhere, and I got a chance to play in a lot of different places, a lot of different arenas, high school and college. So, you appreciate the small crowd as much as you do the large crowd. Yeah.
Now, were you on your college team when didn't you guys go to a tournament maybe in Aruba?
Yes. Actually, my sophomore year, we went to Aruba. And the unique thing about that was the tournament was played outdoors. So I actually felt like I was back in the housing authority on the basketball court. And they had speakers on each end and playing reggae music, people dancing in the crowd during the timeouts, different language barrier. It was crazy. You had to adjust your shot due to the weather, things like that, like being on a playground.
Mm-hmm.
And we won the tournament, and they treated us like we were the Bulls. I mean,
Okay.
Let us in the clubs free, drinks free. So, I mean, it was a unique experience playing over there. I mean, we were there like 10 days, and we only played like 3 games. So, we got to experience the island and have fun and enjoy, the camaraderie with the team and everything. It brought us closer together. But yeah, it was a great competition.
I bet.
We played a lot of international squads over there. So, it was good. Great experience.
Okay. So you start out varsity baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
9th grade, and then you begin managing both sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
But all that time you're going from 9th grade to sophomore to junior, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's no more pre-algebra, right? You're in the algebra, geometry, and so forth, and trig. So what was that adjustment like, not going through the high school years, but as you come out of high school, there is no easy point, right? Right out the gate, freshman in college, you've got heavy classes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The funny part was when I did my schedule, I had a lab, and I was late for practice. So when I get there, the coach grabs me and like, "Why are you late to my practice?" And I said, I had a lab. What am I supposed to do? And he said, "Who's your counselor?" And I told him, and he said, we don't have afternoon classes when you playing sports. you get your butt up 8 a.m. to lunchtime.
Right.
And you get all your classes out the way, and you show up to my practice on time.
Yeah.
So that was another experience. Had to drop that class,
mm-hmm.
and do what I had to do and get up early. And I hated getting up early. I'm not an early person.
Right.
Even to this day. But, you got to do what you got to do. And but no, that was the learning experience right off the bat, right there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. 8 o'clock classes were a nightmare.
Oh man, especially when it's cold.
Yes.
And then we got to walk up that hill to get to the first play.
Right. Heel toe.
And that snow.
Yep.
We've seen many people fall down that hill, slide out right up there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So clearly you eventually, got a grasp on things and figured out how to manage both your time, from practicing in a game standpoint to the classrooms as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Oh yeah. It was, the good thing about going to a smaller college is, you got a smaller class size. So the attention, you can get the attention that you need. And especially being an athlete, you got to have, to be able to show up to class the next day, even if you get in, from an out of town game, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But the professors were understandable, right? So, you can have those one-on-one sessions and things of that nature. And I always took it as a challenge where people think that, you're an athlete, so they're going to give you a break. That wasn't the case, not at the school that you and I went to.
Right.
You go to a small liberal arts school, you're going to be held accountable just like everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been my thing. I'm not a dumb athlete, and I'm going to put me in that box. And that was always a challenge for me from day one, from being known as a basketball player, as an athlete. That was one of the stigmas that, you gotta get over. So, but no, that was, it was a challenge. I'm not even gonna lie. Especially playing 2 sports. It was, not having too much of a break there, and the classes were difficult, as you can attest to.
Yes.
That small liberal arts school, boy, it challenged the heck out of me. So, but we benefit from it, right?
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even begrudge the professor that would call my room.
Yeah, right.
To make sure I was up.
Yeah.
I'm not checking the class. I'm calling now. Yeah. I'll see you in a minute.
I never, that was something I had that happen to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
I never thought that was something that, they would do, but they would get on their phone right there, in their office or the classroom. I think the classrooms had actual phones.
Sure did.
So,
sure did.
And to get that phone call, like, hey, you got 15 minutes to get here. So,
right. Yeah.
I'm telling your coach, right?
Right.
So,
right.
So,
I tell you, kind of, again, that goes back to people caring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was big, because like I said, if you in a school where there's 2, 3, 4, 500 people in one classroom, you're not going to get that attention. So so that was the great thing about where we went. Yeah.
And I loved really as you escalated, right, or elevated in your coursework.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the 200 level courses were packed, right?
Yes. Oh,
Then
yeah.
the 300 level courses got a little bit smaller.
Right.
And then the 400 level courses got that much smaller.
Yeah.
And that was always a great thing.
Sure was. Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. So you finished school. Baseball, competitively at least, is over.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, competitively, is over. What was the first journey you took after graduation?
Well, some people may not know this, but I actually tried out for the Cardinals.
Okay.
And but I tore cartilage in my knee, and that hurt my chances of getting drafted. And I actually got a phone call to play for a team over in Australia for basketball.
Okay.
But my knee just wasn't right, so I had to get a real job, right, from everybody else. And I started selling tires, just stuff like that. And then from there, I got into the finance, got into the mortgage industry, and did that for several years. And then, not too far from now, marketing. I did television commercials, things like that. So, but right now, what I'm doing is I do work for a small veteran disabled owned small business.
Okay.
So, we actually, it's called Impact Diversity Solutions, and we have American Sanitary Products. So we do business with the VAs on a regular basis. So I do deal with that. Charles Brown is our owner of our company. He's the military serviceman, and and we have contracts that we have throughout the federal prisons and the VA hospitals. So I get a chance to get back into some type of military aspect with that.
Okay.
So I deal with the government every day.
Yeah. So now, speaking of government, when you first, I think you first planted your first flag, let's say, in Springfield, right?
Yes. Yep. My mother was living there. Yeah. After I graduated college. Correct.
Yep. Yeah. And how long were you there?
I was there probably 2 years.
Okay.
Actually met my wife there. She and I worked in the same building. She lived in Decatur, Illinois, which is about 30 minutes from Springfield. Mm-hmm. So, just a quick story. She reminds me this all the time. But, I told somebody that first time I saw her, that's going to be my wife.
Right.
Which is crazy because I never thought about getting married ever. So, but that was this God's invention, right? So, and we've been married 24 years strong ever since. So, but yeah, this started in Springfield, and the finance company I worked for was able to transfer me down here to Atlanta.
Okay.
So, so that helped me get my foot in the door here in Georgia. So, and been planting my flag here. So,
right.
Yeah.
Now, your 24th wedding anniversary just passed, didn't it?
Yeah, July 5th.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. She's put up with me this long.
There you go. There you go. Well, you called it 24 years ago, or that's probably a little further back than that, but you called it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's a neat story.
Mm-hmm.
And how many children do you guys have?
Got two sons.
Okay.
My oldest been with me since he was 4. And then my youngest actually will be 21 in October. So
really?
Yeah, man. Jalen is getting old on me. So I'm getting up there in age, man. But yeah, we don't have no babies no more.
Yeah, so. No. So you're empty nesters, pretty much.
I wish I could say that. That's another story, another podcast.
Yeah, right.
We're working on it.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take another break. When we come back, I'm really going to talk about you putting your hat on and taking it to the top in your chosen profession. We'll be right back after these messages with Military Brat University. And welcome back to Military Brat University. Today's episode has been a ball thus far with Lamar Rudd. And we've gone through childhood, the high school years, the college years. And at the end of the last segment, we were just starting down the path, right? The post-college, the post-two-sport career, Hall of Fame career, by the way, to one of my favorite parts, right? And the moves that you made were so strategic and brilliantly played that where you ended up was a foregone conclusion, in my opinion. So, started out in Springfield. And then once you got into the world of finance, you had that company take you to where you wanted to be, right?
Right.
And that's the old OPP principle, or OPM, excuse me.
right.
OPM, other people's money.
Gotcha.
And so you get to Atlanta and you're working in the mortgage industry, which is absolutely exploding back then.
Oh, man.
And what you did to fully capitalize on a burgeoning market is to position yourself at the top of the volcano, so to speak. And, you know, after getting a couple years under your belt for one of the largest banks in the country, you went off on your own and started your own mortgage company. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, actually, it was, I don't take all the credit. It was my good friend, Oliver Williford. He and I met and we worked at a company together. And he said, hey, I'm going out on my own. You know, let me know when you want to join me. And it took a while. You know, it took a lot of courage to do something like that, you know, to step out there in faith. And when I finally decided to do that, he allowed me to buy a percentage into the company and we just took off. You know, he's a great leader. He was the idea guy and I was the guy that took that idea and made it grow. And that's why we worked well together when it came to growing that company. We ended up having about 4 locations, a little bit over 100 people that worked with us. And I always say with us and not for us because we had great people that we paid well, but they went out and got their own business, so to speak, and we helped them cook it, right?
Right.
And, you know, we did fairly well for a long time. And then, you know, 2008 hit and affected us like everybody else. But man, you talk about it was great while I was there. And, you know, and it gave me a lot of experience of running the company, you know, leading people. And, you know, that was kind of like that military, you know, Brat type of situation. At university, you taught you how to adapt to certain people with certain personalities. Sometimes it was like adult daycare, but you know, that's okay. So, but we, you know, got great friends to this day with people that work with us. And, you know, a lot of people made a pretty good fortune, to be honest with you. Very blessed, very, very blessed. So,
yeah. So after the mortgage industry, where'd you go next?
Well, like I said, had to kind of reinvent myself, went over to Comcast and did the business services sales for about 2-3 years. And then the other 5 years, I did the Comcast Spotlight, which is selling advertising time slots on the cable.
Okay.
So, you know, we would do everything from the production of the commercials to buying the airtime for the businesses and anywhere from car dealerships to your small mom and pops, you know, to be on ESPN, BET, OWN, things of that nature. So, you know, learned a lot from that experience. And, you know, hosting, we did a lot of hosting for concerts to basketball games, things of that nature. Being in the suites, you know. Okay. So, you know, almost felt a little big time and, you know, kind of miss it now. I kind of got tired of doing it, but now I miss it. So, right. But yeah, I did that. So a total of about 8 years with Comcast.
Okay.
So I went from pretty much getting free cable to paying a lot now. So
okay.
But yeah, and then from there, you know, like I said, I helped my in-laws out with their freight company. They deal with Caterpillar. They haul the parts every day for the assemblies of the Caterpillar machines up there in Illinois. And a good friend of mine, one of my high school teammates, and you know, baseball and basketball, Tim Johnson, you know, offered me to come and work with him and the Service Veteran Disabled Owned Small Business Company. And you know, now I sell housekeeping products to all the VAs. We do laundry with the federal prisons. And also our parent company does anywhere from the small generators to large generators. We had medical supplies that we sell, PPE, a logistics company on that side. So we've got a number of things. It's about 7 or 8 companies on one platform. So, and he really did a great job with the co-founder, Charles Brown, who's the veteran of the two.
Okay.
And they built an outstanding company, and I'm just great to be a part of it.
That's good stuff. So, number one, thank you for taking the time out of the busy schedule you just described.
Yeah.
Spend it with us. And, knowing somebody over 30 years and still learning is what it's all about.
I can agree more.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. I truly appreciate this opportunity to be on here.
Yeah. So at some point, we're going to have you back.
Okay.
There's so much more to your story to share.
I appreciate that. Yeah. No, anytime. Let me know.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And if you could just stick around, we're going to actually do our segment. We have a segment that we're debuting this week.
Okay.
Omni, are we going to be able to do that? Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. The heads are up, the chest are out, the arms are swinging in K to count. Sound off, sound off, sound off, sound off. K to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So everybody, it's time to sound off. And this week's question is, how many languages do you speak? Most of us military brats have at least been exposed to more than one language. And some of us have picked up bits and pieces here and there. So down below, is it 1, 2, 3, or more? So let us know how many languages that you've learned over the years and what they are. Sound off, everybody. And again, thank you so very much, Lamar, for spending some time with us this evening.
Absolutely.
And we will see everybody next week with more Military Brat University.